Hi there. It's Chris von Lindenberg. With me today are my colleagues Justin Lynham and Vince Carbonero. We're here to share some stress-reducing tips for holiday spending this year, just to give everyone the opportunity to share and think about some insights and simple tips that can help with the holiday gift-giving season, regardless of which holiday we support. We have folks that support them all, but really excited. So Justin, Vince, thanks for joining me today. Who wants to kick us off with a great tip or an insight?
Well, I'd like to just say that when I'm preparing for the holiday season, one of the first things I do is I make a brief list of who I intend to purchase gifts for, and I keep in mind an approximate budget for each person. Obviously, my kids will be at the top of the list. They send their lists to Santa Claus at the North Pole, which sometimes gets intercepted by the post office and redirected, but we won't get into the details of that. But at least I know what they're looking for, how many things they're looking for. I could sort of budget what they're after. And then, other friends and family to an extent are on the list. And I know what I have in mind to spend on each of them. And having that list and sticking to it will help you stick to a budget and stick to a limit on how many gifts you're purchasing.
Glad you said that. It seems like every year that the day before Christmas or like December 23rd, we celebrate Christmas as a family, but it seems like December 23rd, I feel like there's always a bit of a Chinese fire drill as my wife and I tend to divide and conquer. She does the lion's share of the shopping. And then I'm wondering on the 23rd, hey, did we hit everyone on the list? Did we get this person? Did we get that person? I'm like, well, we didn't really have a list. I'm like, uh-oh. So Vince, I'm really glad you said have a list and map out a budget. So know who you're shopping for, know if you've got an expectation of what you're going to contribute. Justin, anything you can add to the list concept?
Yeah, absolutely. So, over time with a lot of family members and kids, it was this struggle trying to buy gifts for everybody. And so we actually start putting guardrails on it and say, well, once, a child reached the age of 18, we're no longer going to go out and buy all these lavish gifts. So we set a kind of an age cap. So it helped prevent us having to buy, just more and more gifts every year, and just got a little bit out of control. I think one thing that's really important is no matter what strategy you come up with, good, bad, or indifferent, communicate it to your significant other or spouse. Because if both parties aren't on the same page, goodness gracious, you're going to find yourself with a bill one day going, what the heck just happened?
Yeah, and maybe a glass of bourbon.
And a glass of bourbon. Yes.
Um,
Okay.
I'm glad you said that. When you said the list and you said communication, you said age cap, what hit me is, and maybe I'm shifting a little bit, is shopping early and not the fire drill of the last minute shopping. Last minute shopping can, I hate to say, lead to some impulse purchases, but some impulse buys and things like that. So the fire drill of waiting to the last minute is one which causes a lot of stress. And again, maybe that glass of bourbon or an IPA or a Prozac, I don't know, depends on.
And it's what the reality is. You're right, because if you wait to the last minute, odds are most of the seasonal deals are probably gone because they realize that you got this straggler walking through the door and charge you full price for it. But there's some really great opportunities if you start early enough and kind of game plan out who's getting what and how much you're spending. You can really, maybe you're looking for that game console, and there's a timer of the week where it's on sale. You can execute that and get it, not break the budget doing it.
Yeah. One of the ways you can sort of de-stress and not get trapped in the rush is, obviously many of us take annual leave, vacation time exactly around the time of the holidays. But if you could, budget some annual leave or vacation time to take in the weeks leading up to the holidays, you might be able to spend a few days shopping during the week when the stores aren't crowded. And I find that that's a method that I use each holiday season. Take a few days off before the holidays to shop, plan, and prepare. So I'm not scrambling in the evenings or on the weekends when the parking lots are packed.
I'm glad you said that, Vince.
You don't like to throw elbows, Vince?
No.
I don't believe it. I thought you do jiu-jitsu. Come on now.
Only if required.
So I'm glad you said that, because you made me think of something. I made light of, drinking or de-stressing or medication. I made light of that, but I think what we need to focus on is, don't drink and shop, right? Because that can cloud judgment. But I think to myself of when a lot of people do their holiday shopping tends to be after the workday. And as I think about that, some recent coaching, it's like, and whatnot, we were talking about when are we at our best? And maybe we should do our shopping at the time of day when we're at our best. If we're a morning person and we tend to make clear, sound judgment decisions in the morning, maybe we should budget time in our calendar, that PTO day, Vince, that you talked about, maybe to do our shopping in the morning, right? Maybe to do our pre-planning in the morning and not at the end of the day when you're fatigued and maybe not making the best decisions.
It's like not grocery shopping when you're starving. Terrible idea.
Great point.
Yeah. Going back to the whole budget thing, I think something that may work well for others is using cash. I know we're in the society today where everyone swipes a card. It's easy, it's convenient, but great thing about cash is when it's gone, it's gone. And there's no question as to is there a balance left over. Another thing that might actually work well if you don't want to carry cash is a prepaid card. So that way, again, when it's out, but you're not going to find yourself in this big deficit as a result of excessive shopping or overspending. And then I've known some folks to use this envelope stuffing method throughout the year. They'll stuff envelopes with cash. That might work well for some if they're in a position where, they don't want to use a prepaid card or just another strategy to think about.
Glad you brought up the cash thing. I think that's definitely a way to help yourself avoid a holiday hangover is don't spend money you don't have. And if you start with cash and then it's gone, at least you're mindful of it. I think a lot of people are more mindful of the cash. I thought of one, specifically Black Friday deals. We go, oh my gosh, look at these great deals. Maybe steer clear of the Black Friday deals for thyself, if you catch my drift. Like, oh, I know I need to shop for a family member, but oh, look, this flat screen TV that I don't need what a great price. Let me go ahead and get one of those, but not shopping for thyself in the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know Justin said to maybe avoid credit cards around the holiday season if you don't want to go into debt coming into the new year. But if you do have a card that has the option of accumulating points, something like an Amazon card or so forth that accumulates points, my sort of strategy is let those accumulate all year, and the points are specifically earmarked just for holiday shopping when December rolls around. So as they add up all year, I try not to spend them, and then I'm able to use them for gift giving, and it's a nice little chunk of that holiday budget that's saved.
That's a fantastic.
No doubt. I think there's value in some of the reward points and stuff that's out there. I think the challenge is, carrying forward a balance in those cards. It really defeats the purpose of the reward if you're, paying excessive amounts of interest towards that debt, because again, you didn't set a budget and you overspent. One thing I'm reminded, and I think about this kind of at my age today, probably not so much as a kid, but I reflect back on my life and as a kid, and I don't remember a daggone thing that I really got for Christmas. I really don't. Short of maybe a Nintendo.
I remember what I didn't get. That G.I. Joe aircraft carrier that every kid wanted.
Oh,
in the 80s. You know what I'm talking? You've seen it.
I'm with you. Yeah.
One kid that had it.
Yeah. But the reality is we got toys as kids, but most of us don't remember what they were. And more importantly, they didn't really create significant memories. But I can tell you, I distinctly remember holidays, with family members and dinners, and just the opportunity to spend time with them. That's what's most rewarding to me today, is really the time and the memories that are created through that experience, not necessarily the stuff that's trivial, at least in my opinion.
I'm going to piggyback on that for a second, because I had a couple ideas on that. One is, before finalizing your list and going shopping, engage in conversations with those people who you're planning on giving to. Find out, is there something that you can give that would actually help them? And I'm not suggesting that you have to ask them what do they need or what do they want, but if you would ask someone, what have you been doing lately? What are you working on? Like, what's happened in your personal life? And maybe they confide in you that they've been journaling, right? Maybe they confide in you that they're trying to prioritize their time. They feel stretched thin. Like, is there something thoughtful and meaningful? Like, is there a gift? Like a productivity planning book, right? Or a project planning book, something that's a notepad, but comes from the heart with a heartfelt note and something that could genuinely help them that you otherwise wouldn't have known or thought of or picked up on if you didn't engage them in a conversation.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the reality is we could go out and buy less expensive gifts that are personalized for that individual, whether it's a monogram or a message that you wanted to convey to them. It's not going to break the bank to do it, but again, it is that personalized gift to them because something that's important to them.
Yeah. Know your audience, and oftentimes a practical, inexpensive gift is more valued than a lavish gift that the person wouldn't utilize or might return. For instance, like a pair of premium ice fishing boots when the ones from the 70s are just fine.
Well,
But they're vintage fence.
I'm going to turn a page from a different perspective. I was thinking of like, how can you do your shopping and not end up with remorse afterwards? One of the great things about technology today is online shopping, and particularly an online shopping cart. One of the great things, whether it's Amazon or Walmart.com, whatever is your choice, you can do your online shopping. You can create a shopping cart. You can get an idea of what the totals are. You can look at the items by line, and you don't have that emotional in the moment. I've got to buy it now while I'm at the store. I don't want to come back out again. You don't have the pressure of standing in the checkout line like, oh, I have to decide. I have to decide. I have to decide. Am I going to put it back? Am I going to keep it? And there's a line of people behind you like, are you really going to pay with a check? You don't have to worry about that pressure at the checkout line. But putting things into an online cart to avoid that, time is up. I've got to make a decision. And I think that's a great part about technology today.
Yeah.
No doubt. And the Amazon wish list, that's always clutch because now you don't have to guess about what to get someone, right?
Right. I have to look into that. I'm not familiar with that. So there's a wish list.
Yeah. One of the things I've forced myself to do recently over the last couple of years is I think we've all gotten ready to put up holiday decorations or look for gift wrap, tape, etc., lights for the tree. And every year without fail, the lights don't work. I need to go out and purchase them. I need to go get gift wrap. And if that's right before the holidays, it's at its most expensive, and sometimes it's scarce. After the holidays, when it's like 50% off, I just load a cart with it and have all new boxes of lights waiting for me in the attic and all new rolls of wrapping paper ready to be deployed. And I don't have to worry about that part of the spending or the stress of having to run out and get those things while I'm doing the gift shopping.
Or the expensive gift bags that are conveniently at the store that you can buy that you're paying way too much for, that you could probably buy 100 of them for the same price online.
Exactly. Yeah, no doubt.
How about it? Justin, you have another tip?
Just set up guardrails. Just be realistic in your approach. I think that's really just be sensible, be realistic. And just, again, remember that one day the toy or the novelty of certain things that we buy might go away, but really focus on the memories that you're creating with your family. I think that's what's most important.
I really like the guardrails idea, Justin. In my own family, for years, as we were aging and having kids and stuff, we were cousins, aunts, and uncles. We were all still buying gifts for one another. And then as we grew older, we started to realize that it's really a lot of ways more about the children. And we could always sort of look at each other as we met for the holidays, and we're kind of wondering if we had gifts for one another. Eventually, we all just came to an agreement that adults weren't going to exchange anything more than a modest, a bottle of wine or a box of chocolates if we were coming to the house to visit, and not worry about some fancy electronic device or what have you. It's just focus on the kids, make it joyful for them, and adults can enjoy each other's company rather than overspending.
But if you are going to buy me a gift, I do love bourbon. All right.
Yeah, it's a really good point. If you are communication, not just with a spouse, right, or within the family, but setting those guardrail expectations, whether it's with the kids, like, hey, give Santa your list, but make sure Santa prefers it when you put numerical priorities on it. What's your number one priority, number two, number three, right? But also maybe communicating with those that you will be exchanging with of, can we please put a cap on it this year? Right? Or can we do a theme this year? What if it's a gag gift theme where everybody realizes, like, listen, you're giving junk, but you're keeping it to a modest amount of $10. You're giving something that's a novelty, but is designed to inject some humor. Like, can you do a theme around it? Right? Is a great idea, but maybe you have a $10 threshold, a 25, maybe it's 50 or something max, so that you don't have a family who has the means over giving and making others feel poorly about, not being able to feel equal or equivalent, if you will. I got a couple more that I had as ideas. Don't buy a gift for someone else that you want for yourself, unless it's for me, Justin. But don't buy a gift for someone else that you really just want for yourself, right? Like make it personal and meaningful for them. This is a deep thinking one, but are the gifts that you're giving in alignment with your values? And is there any particular behavior you're trying to encourage or influence? So thinking about giving giving a gift of an electronic game console to a child whose parents are encouraging them to do more things outside, more physical activity, and less time behind a screen, be mindful of what you are giving, and maybe have a conversation with that parent, or that again, communication, I think, is key sometimes when giving, because sometimes gifts have unintended consequences.
Sure.
Like a drum set, great idea to give any young child who's not in your household, but the parents may not actually appreciate that.
That's what Carson's getting this year from me.
Thanks. I'll be sure to re-gift them. And I guess lastly, meaningful gifts over gift cards. If we wait till the last minute, a gift card is, I hate to say it, but a cop-out. And we've kind of done that. I know I've done that over the years. Like you get to the last minute, you're like, oh my gosh, we're on the way to a birthday party. We got to stop and get a gift card. And you're like, can't this be a Visa gift card? Let's get one that actually says a store on it, so it makes it appear like we went to the store for them. The branded ones. Meaningful gifts carry so much more weight, and it's not about the dollars, because the money doesn't equate to happiness, right? And no one remembers, who gave them a gift card, because Amazon comes to the house every day. How is that going to be special, right?
That's a good point.
Ooh, and lastly, what about experiences? What's an experience that you can give someone that you could spend time together with them experiencing, creating the memory? So can you give a gift of an experience, such as tickets to a show or to a play, that you invest the time to go along with them to create the memory? Because that will leave a lasting memory and an impression, and photo op and everything else that later can be remembered, much more so than a gift card that somebody bought, a pallet of toilet paper with in a pandemic.
Right.
Great idea.
Well, thank you for tuning in. Justin, Vince, anything to close out from either of your camps?
No, that's about it.
Holidays. Be safe. Enjoy
Happy
it.
holidays. I'll just finish with gratitude. I'm grateful for you tuning in, grateful for the opportunity to serve so many amazing people, grateful for our team, grateful for my colleagues with me today, just filled with gratitude. Don't lose sight of gratitude over the holidays, and take the opportunity, take the time to reflect, take the time to pause, be in the moment, check the surroundings, enjoy the people you're with. But thank you for joining the roundtable today. Hopefully we've given you some stress reducing ideas and some perspective on the holidays. And any of you that just decide you want to save your holiday money and invest it for your future instead, give us a call. We're here for you.
See you, everyone.
Thank you.